All right, welcome back to another edition of Boundaries and Brotherhood with the Gordon and Carrie show. But today's topic, guys, is going to be going over the pressures, right? The weight of staying new, handling the pressure, the fear of relapse, and the identity shift after transformation. Miss Carrie is a perfect example of this because we just was talking about certain things where you drop the physical weight is only phase one. You mean the
Yeah.
real war begins the moment you reach your goal and you look in the mirror and you realize the pressure is to keep it off. And that's a whole nother aspect of it itself because when everybody's watching, praising your new body, your situation, how you feeling good, and waiting to see if you'll slip up because trolls do that on a consistent basis. And today we're going to be going over the pressures from a female angle, from what she's talking about, the sudden self-sabotage that kicks in because you're changing identity, you're changing into new person, you're changing mentally, and the pressure feels far more terrifying than the weight loss journey it was. Carrie, while we get it all technically set up, talk about all of that stuff because if you're not following Miss Carrie Pallura and the whole woman method, you're missing out on a lot of good stuff. All right, let's go.
I think that the hardest part for me is, yes, it begins the day that I hit my goal because now, like, everybody's watching and I'm
Oh,
suddenly aware
absolutely.
that everybody's watching, right? Because people are complimenting me and they're telling me, "Oh, hey, you look great." And then there is this thought that will creep up that's kind of like, "Okay, well, what if I can't keep it?
Yes.
What if it all comes back?" And
Yeah.
I mean, is that a reality? I mean, the possibility is there, but I get
Always.
to become a different person. Or I can be the person that puts so much pressure on myself that I suffocate the hell out of myself, and then I start picking myself apart. I mean, it really is about who I get to be in that moment. Actually, it gets to be about who I get to be moving forward, period. Do I take on the new identity of the woman who's now lost the weight? You know what I mean?
Of course, because once you lose the weight and everything else, you still have more pressures. Because in this episode, we're going to break down the high stakes reality of transformation. Because even like for Miss Carrie, she was 100 pounds overweight at one point. She didn't feel good about it herself, but she lost the weight. And then we unpack the why, the success triggers, the immediate panic, and how to stop that single slip up. Because once you go down that slippery path, it's over. The whole objective is to protect the peace where you're at and to maintain that thing. Like I tell a lot of people, like, yeah, I don't lift all the big heavy weights anymore and stuff. I don't do crazy stuff, but the maintaining is the sustenance of it. It's the consistency of that. And that way, when you work with Miss Carrie, and then she goes like, she's tasted marriage, she's tasted divorce, she's tasted dating, she's tasted being single. But where does she come back to? She recommends the weights and working out. And I truly believe that because it makes you feel good about that.
Oh my God. I
That's,
think it all starts with me. It all starts with me. Is that's the truth. And I get to
yeah.
feel good in this body. And I was given this body to take care of and be responsible for. And so I think that's where I start. And when my physical body feels good, then I'm gonna feel good. You know what I mean? It like if I'm tired and I feel completely exhausted, then that's when my mind is just gonna go down a rabbit trail. And I'm not gonna want to do that. I'll start self-sabotaging like immediately. Like, I mean, that's just how it is. When for me, I get to pay attention. I'm always like assessing where I'm at. Self-awareness is the most important thing throughout this process. So you
Oh,
don't lie to
you have to self-assess everything that's going on because how can you gauge, especially like saying you're in a business, you cannot gauge your progress or your sales or say your marketing if you don't have the data. And you cannot have, I mean, like you said, the body shaming, this and that. But would you rather put in the work to know that you're like, you can be a gym trainer, but you might have the technical ability, you might have everything, but you have to have at least be in some shape or form to actually get more clients. Now, if you're working on this journey together, do you think, Miss Carrie, that you intimidate some of the people, and how do you filter that? Right?
I can't go into a situation going, "Oh my God,
Correct.
I don't want to intimidate them or make them, you know, feel uncomfortable." I can't control how other people feel. That's just the reality of it. I can just
Mhm,
go in and
mhm.
be myself. And it's not to say that there are situations where I feel intimidated sometimes,
Of
but I'll tell
course.
I mean, it's just everywhere. Everybody that's just our process of what we get to go through, and it doesn't mean anything about us. It's just recognizing that and shifting from there. That's all it means. I mean, I can make it mean I'm not good enough and all the things, but I choose not to do that, and I choose to make every woman in my space like feel as comfortable as I possibly can.
Of course.
And when they come into the space wanting to learn and have that like the student mindset, like I'm always learning. I always want to be in the student mindset. And
You
that's how
have
you have to
you have
be.
to
I
be.
mean, otherwise I'm going to go through life thinking I know shit. And
It's like that's when you be complacent, and that's when you don't have enough to fill other people's cups at that point.
right.
Even like for me, when I come out, I can sit quiet in a room. I can do that, and people ask me questions, and I give them like a floodgate of information. It's just I don't realize sometimes that my glass is half full that I have to pour into somebody else. This is why I'm running so many multiple shows, running so many different businesses, even though and being a husband and a dad
Yep.
in summer vacation.
That in itself. Oh my God.
You telling me?
Never a dull moment over there.
Oh no. But let me ask you this from a woman's perspective, right? When you reach a major health or weight goal, why does the pressure feel like it doubles overnight instead of letting up? Why does that happen?
Well, my experience has been when I hit this goal, it's like people are recognizing, and then it's just kind of like, oh, how do I keep this? And for me, this was the biggest problem for me when I was constantly doing competitions because I could get down to this weight to do this competition. It would be amazing. And I knew that I could only look this way for 8 hours. Like I already knew that going in.
Oh, that's true.
It's
That's
very
true.
true. And
Yeah.
didn't have this level of acceptance that the way that I look today, the day of the show, is not healthy and it's not going to be sustainable. And that's okay. I don't think I was prepared for that. And so when I would leave that situation, I would want to eat normal again because I've restricted myself. And I had no idea that the restriction was actually working against me because it was like a drug. Like the food for me was like a drug.
Of
So
course.
once I
Because
started,
yeah.
it was over. It was,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I was not the identity of the woman that could maintain, like 5 pounds within like competition weight. That was not me at all. It was like 30 pounds. Like I would gain 30 pounds in a couple of weeks, like
I mean,
easy.
yeah, because you work so hard at it, and it's the same thing. That journey that you take. This is because, like, even when Andrea was with her trainer and stuff like that, right? When I paid for a trainer because she didn't want me training her because we would argue and fight, right? Because she goes, but she'll tell her friends, "Oh, Gordon can show you what to do," but she won't take advice from me. But that's just how it is in relationships, right?
Yep,
But then
100%.
her training was what when she lost all that weight, she knew she had that mindset to actually go do it because not most people do it, right?
Right.
And then when she wanted to get her into competitions, I said, "Well, now we're getting a little bit too heavy into this because I know you're gonna be grouchy because you're gonna have to diet. We're gonna have to be strict regimen and all this other stuff. I'm not going through that, me personally, right?
Okay.
but but at the same time, I commended her for trying because she knew that's where it's gonna stop, right? Because you fall off because you start becoming a different person, and the obsession with it will drive somebody else crazy also, because
Yeah.
you do get obsessed because you know the end in sight, the goal, and then when like for yourself, when the competition happens and everything else falls in place, you're gonna pig out because all the photos have been done, you accomplished the goals, you went up on stage, but who you become is even better because
Yeah.
you can. It's like riding a bicycle, right? It's like
Mhm.
millionaires that have the basic. Somebody could lose everything if they choose to become another millionaire, they'll do it again, like because you have the mindset, the tenacity, the everything else. Now, second question: when women deal with an immense amount of public scrutiny, like I know from your Facebook post, how much of the fear of putting it back on comes from society, friends, trolls, and will they treat you differently after you transform from your experience?
Oh man, they're like, I believe everyone gets to be mentally prepared because, and we have
Okay.
to. For me, I get to hold the identity of the new version of me. And I don't get to start making meaning out of everything because listen, the posts that I post, people troll me all the fucking time. ab- about being in a, oh my, you're old, you're 49. Oh my God. People say all kinds of crazy shit. And actually, I'm like, oh, y'all are helping my algorithm. Fucking thank you, dude.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I don't allow it to bother me anymore. But I will tell you that there was a time that it would have bothered me. And I would, it would have prevented
Absolutely.
me. Like when I first met you, no way in hell I would have posted the
Oh,
shit that I post
you
today.
went off.
No, because I would
Your
have been,
mind.
I would have cried.
You would have lost your mind.
I would be like, oh my God, everybody's so mean. Now I'm like, oh my God, I don't give a fuck. It's like, cool. The mental piece is important because my body's going to change before my identity does. And I just get to accept that. And so knowing that, I can lose 50, 60 pounds and still, the thing is, I still think like the woman who was starting over. And so I have to be aware of
But
that.
that's a good thing. That's a
Yeah.
very good thing.
I just have to have that self-awareness to know that, okay, I'm still thinking like her and it's okay. But how would the new Carrie think? And that's where I get to go next. And it's a
Right.
practice. It's not like I'm going to do it overnight. It's just every
Oh,
morning
yeah.
when I wake up, I get to choose to be her.
But it's in like you said, at one of your posts, I remember that you're gonna be 80, you're gonna be wearing that bathing suit, you're gonna be because you earned that right, right?
Fuck yeah.
Even like when I go to the gym, people don't understand I'm 2 years away from 60, and I'm smashing weights. You see those old guys with the gray and everything else, and I see some guys that's younger than me just trying to get into the mobility phase. I'm like, oh man, I feel bad for you because you didn't realize that this is gonna catch up to your ass later on, right? Even for the stuff that I do with my rates, it's like, yeah, I'll still go under 300 on 300 pounds and crack it out. People looking at me like, they ask, how old are you? Like, I said, I'm 58. Like, what do you guys, what's wrong with that? Because I'll be that guy too, like you, because I have that mindset. I'm going to keep doing it until the wheels fall off, basically. Except for like when my kids want to break my toe and I'm hobbling along here and they think it's the funniest shit because they broke my toe. Okay, that help. But even for that, that's pretty good because if a person has that much confidence, they deserve to flaunt that shit at that age. Because like you said, nobody cares. And I tell Andrew this, who cares? Because
Right.
they didn't put in the work, but they want the fast, quick fix, GOP, this and that. But what about the muscle and the shape after?
100%.
Right?
Yep.
Okay, let me ask you this question now. Have you ever had that moment where you looked in the mirror after that major change and realized I don't even recognize the woman looking back at me?
You mean after
What did you actually feel internally? Because you put the pressure on you, the pressure came off. How does it feel, and what do you tell yourself now? Was it kind of like a scary feeling, or was it more relieving?
It can be scary. I think what's like, it's me always checking in. So I get to look at it from appreciation, like, holy shit, I
Absolutely.
fucking did this. This is how I look today. And I get to love who I am today. And I get to love the old version of me because she got me here. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, 100%.
And then I also like the one big thing that I get to remember is like, if I skip a workout, it's going to be okay. The thing for me was getting away from being so obsessed with the training and doing it perfectly.
Pressure,
because
obsession.
I will put like no one puts pressure on me, but I will, and if I would skip a workout, there's different ways to look at it. I could look at, oh fuck, I totally screwed up. I missed a workout, or I can just be like, oh, okay, cool. Today will just be my day off and I'll train tomorrow. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
There was a time that I would become so obsessed with it and so obsessed with eating and it was so mentally draining. But the mental work, the inner work that I had to do, like taught me to separate missing a workout from becoming my identity. Like you go regulate yourself. You're going to be okay. And don't go eat over this shit either. You missed a workout. Don't make it mean it's okay for you to go eat, like emotionally eat. Discomfort isn't an emergency, is what I'm trying to say.
Me and Doc talked about it yesterday, that your identity, your label is not you, right? Because you, Miss Carrie Peluro, is different from the workout monster, the coach, the identity, the label, the womanhood method. That's just something that you do, but it's not you. You can't let that get all wrapped up into everything else, right? Now, knowing saying that about the eating and using the emotional eating, you talked before about how you used to use food as a safety blanket when it gets overwhelming and pressure. What does that internal battle look like when that pressure hits you? And what does your brain think? Because you might have some women here or people listening on the podcast going down the road, and it screams to run back to what's comfortable, right? How does that work out for you? Or what do you tell your clients?
And this is something that I deal with regularly. As a matter of fact, this was happening yesterday where I was feeling some uncomfortableness. And because I'm self aware today, I know, but I was wanting to go find sugar. And I was like, oh, I already know there's some gluten free cookie dough in the refrigerator. And so I was like, you know what? I am going to go have one of those little cookies. And so I had one. And then I came back upstairs and then I'm like, oh, I want another. And I was like, oh, this is going to go down that spiral. Like I recognize this pattern. I already know where we're going. So what is it that you're uncomfortable with? What are you not facing? What is there something that you didn't complete today? So I
Right.
had to really get like, I had to look and get honest with myself. Like, is there something in my business I'm avoiding? Is there something within myself that I'm avoiding? Because for me, my pattern is if I'm avoiding something or I'm afraid, if I'm coming from fear, I'm typically going to distract myself. And right now it's sugar. Like I love sugar. Who doesn't? You know what I
Come
mean?
on, look at my coffee. But knowing that, right? Because you covering it up and it could be your crux, right?
Right.
When you get over that section, it's not that bad. One thing is not going to hurt you. Now, if
Right.
you do it on a abundant scale, like you keep doing it, then we have a problem. And then it's harder to kind of like pull back, right? Go ahead, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Because I'm eating my emotions. I'm trying to like
Right.
stuff them. And I recognized it last night where I was like, "Oh, this could go a different direction if you
Easily.
allow it."
Easily. Yeah.
It's not like I don't have these and I say cravings, but are they really cravings? They're real the craving is telling me there's something else there.
I mean, it's same like your post. Like you talk about the food, you talk about everything, but in your post, you have standards, you shame free, and it's like it's kind of and in her post, it's kind of chic to make midlife look sexy as fuck, right? It's kind of chic to eat the carbs and still see your abs, and you deserve it all because who wouldn't want to show off all that hard work even at that stage in life, right? Because and you can't get down on yourself because if you put so much pressure on yourself, like me and Doc said yesterday, and it's okay to be feminine and be toned up, muscular, and be able to stuff. You could shoot for that, right? You could shoot for that muscular, feminine type style body, toned up, everything else, and be proud to wear that bikini with your kids, right? Because
Mhm.
let's face it, we go to the water park, all the moms flex on each other, and they're all comparing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They do that. That's what females do, and there's nothing wrong with that. But when say a female, even for guys, when they slip up or they hit a high stress week, a high stress situation, can that shame cycle come back easily? And how do you correct that?
This shame cycle can come back and it's up to me to be aware because especially now like I'm 49, I'm going to be turning 50 and I was like sold this idea that being sexy midlife is inappropriate, right? Like
Who told you that?
you have to like it has everything has to be age appropriate. Well, remember like I grew up in like this religious household where everything had to be like there's like
I
a lot
mean,
of religious shame and you had to wear
oh
skirts
yeah,
that were
okay,
below
okay,
your
okay.
knees and stupid shit like that. You can tell I still have a little resentment. But anyway, but the whole thing is this, it's like, you know,
Oh my goodness.
I remember when I was a little girl, I remember having a conversation with my friend and I think it was I had to be like 6 or 7 and I was like, "My mom is really old. She's like 30." And because when
Right.
you're younger, you really think that, "Oh my god, like 30's old." And then as you
30's
get
old,
to
yeah.
30, you're like, "Oh my god, 30's not old." Now I'm 49. I'm like, "49's not old." You know, like that confidence should never have an expiration date. Like I get to feel good and look good no
Great.
matter what age I am.
That's
You know,
great. Me too. Shit. I'm still thinking I'm the prize.
I don't buy into any of that bullshit. Like after 40, I don't have to like play it safe and dress age appropriate. Like, no, I worked so hard to get where I am today. And I never thought that I could be at this age and look good and feel this good.
To feel good, yeah.
But I,
And the person that you're doing it for is mostly for yourself. So that's honorable in itself because you're not trying to flex on anybody else. And the people
right.
that's going to talk behind your back and it's age appropriate because they haven't put in that work. You know what I mean? They haven't put in all that stuff to get to that point where, because if they could, they would, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely, they could, they would. But then at the same time, it's like it's the habits, it's a change, how you handle the pressure, how you do everything. And sometimes, you have your good and up and bad moments, like anything else, right? Do
I
you think, let me ask you this, knowing that age, do you think you intimidate not just women, but men?
probably. And so I'll say this. I think I probably do today because I'm very clear about like the type of man that I want. And I can tell within a 5-minute
Yeah.
conversation if I'm a full body no for you. You know what I
Right, right,
mean?
right.
I think that can be true because I think a woman who is very clear on what she wants because she's learned from experience
I
that
mean, fair enough.
I
Yeah.
don't think it's necessarily like it's not like an arrogance thing. It's just I'm clear about who I want, what I'm looking for, and in a few minutes of a conversation, I'm pretty sure that I'll know whether or not I'm a yes or a no for you, and that's cool. I'm glad that I'm like that. I don't want to waste your time, and you don't need to waste mine. We can be on
Right,
the
right.
same
I
page.
mean that's a good thing. Do you
Yeah.
think do you think lowering, say, I mean, it's a different from standards and boundaries and everything else, but is there a way, like, say, how do I say, like, is there standards you're willing to give up because you work so hard, or does somebody have to match you, or do you put pressure on them or yourself in that situation?
So I'm not trying to change anybody. I have
Of course not.
specific standards. So this is one
Yes.
thing I learned, and I learned this from my past relationship. I'm very clear that the next person I'm with has to be really into health and fitness. That was something that, so standards for me is a big fucking deal. That was my standard. And I did go, this person doesn't possess that drive for health and fitness like I do. I lowered my standards in that area and I fucking paid for it. We
Not
just
that.
live a different lifestyle. And
Yeah.
because we live different lifestyles, we butted heads a lot when it came to health and fitness. And that's a problem because then that was affecting the way I was feeling about myself because I wasn't living up to my standard. And that's on me. It has nothing to do with
Oh,
him.
that's big.
So
That's big.
water always, water always
That's
sticks. They always tell
that's
you that. And
big.
it's so true. So like I lowered my standards for myself. It did like he
That's
had different standards than
big.
me. Yeah, seriously. It does
Big.
not make anything wrong, right, wrong, good or bad about him. It was
No,
just
yeah, no, yeah.
yeah, like well, and I want to be clear about that because some people will take
No,
that
yeah.
in a different way. And for me, it was that I knew that health and fitness is like the number one priority for me. And because I started to compromise that, that started to affect the way I felt about myself.
Because
And
now you're holding self-resentment too,
oh,
which
yeah,
is
for
huge.
sure.
Because
Yeah.
like you're so disciplined, radiated, you put the pressure on yourself, you let the pressure go,
Mhm.
you come in. I mean, that's some sort of pressure where identifying your wants is kind of different because you know when you do something like that, it's like it's not a bad thing, a good thing. It's like the standards and the lifestyle is completely different.
Exactly.
I'm
That's all it is.
completely
And even like, so somebody that just wants to work all the time, I'll use that as an example, who just wants to work all the time. And then someone who's like, okay, well, I love working, but I also know for my mental health and my physical health, like I want to go work out. I want to go get out, go to the park, go for walks, go do these
you
things. And
need to
if
have that
somebody else isn't on
balance.
board with that type of
Yes.
lifestyle, it's
Yeah.
just, you're going to constantly butt heads and you're never going to see each other. And it's just not going to work.
Yeah, it's hard because you don't have balance in your life. You gotta have purpose. You have to have, let's say, your family. You have to have your where you donate some time. You have to have your relationships. Like when we was in my program, if you have your five spokes, you gotta have your relationships, your work, your purpose, your faith, everything. If one is pulling on to the other side, that wheel is lopsided. It's like a flat tire.
Yep.
So, and you have to be able to manage that even under pressure and not use that as that label to identify yourself into the same situation because you are not your work. You are not just a person going to the gym. You are not just a person doing the videos. You're not just a podcast. You have a soul that you have in yourself, and you're not just a husband or a father. You're just to the community, and that's when you have to separate those things and not let the pressure of being one control your life. Right now, knowing that, right, what is the boundary or standard you have to set for yourself or with people in your life to protect the woman you are now or becoming if somebody's watching this? Because you have to ask yourself that, right?
And so that means that like right now my life is set up a specific way for my lifestyle, and I don't get to compromise those standards. I still get to be first and
Okay,
and
yeah.
certain things first. Now, when someone else comes into my life, I think they get to blend, but you don't get to like the standards that I had living alone should still apply with standards that I have being in relationship, but they do get to blend well, and they don't just get to go away is what I'm saying.
Blend, I would say blend, yeah, because you're accepting the other person into your life, not to disrupt everything, but to see if you can be cohesive.
Correct. That's a better word, cohesive.
Yeah. And
Totally.
blend is a good word because say they have their own life. And like I say to a lot of people, like, okay, yeah, they want to be in a relationship. You have standards, you have a certain way. What are you willing to give up? You know what I mean? And now it's the relationship is one thing and you putting pressure on yourself. Now, does it become a problem if they don't match some of the standards? Or is it, do you put pressure on yourself or do you communicate in a way that makes it clear this time?
Well, I think it's kind of both. I do get to communicate and make it
Yeah.
absolutely clear. And like, I'm not going to love everything about my partner. I know
Of
that.
course.
You know what I mean?
You're every human.
But the biggest piece to this is that I don't get to lose myself, and I
Name would
don't yeah, I don't get to
name.
take away from who I am in
Mhm.
order to be with someone else. Like, they should accept me fully, and if they don't, then they're just not the right person for me, and that's
I
cool.
mean, and that's even for friendships in your circle. It's the same exact
100%.
thing, right?
I'm constantly cleaning house.
Oh, hey
I
guys, I'm still in.
I
He's
mean,
still
like,
in.
I'm like, I am constantly clean because my energy is that important to me.
No,
Even like for
one
like
hundred percent.
the women that I work with one on one today, they're a totally different standard than any other woman I've worked with before. I don't need the woman that has victim mentality that doesn't want to change their life. I don't need to pull you over the finish line. Like, you get to support yourself and motivate
Interesting.
yourself. Like,
Are
I'm
you
not
seeing
I'm
that a
not doing that.
lot? Are you seeing that a lot
Oh,
and
hell
not
yeah,
handling the
absolutely.
pressure?
Absolutely.
Seeing that a little bit.
I think you can have a woman that will hold her standard like in her business, right? Like, she'll hold
Okay.
standards in her business and at home, but then she'll allow her health to suffer. And I'm like, hold on. Like, that's the pillar that holds everything together. That's your foundation, is your health and wellness. So like that gets to go
Yes.
first.
Yeah.
And so, because other things are being put first, it will all crumble.
Yep.
It will absolutely crumble at some point. And so it's like it's recognizing that, and also like the mental piece of it all. If you're not mentally prepared so if somebody comes into my space and they already have standards set in certain areas, I know that it's possible for them to create a certain standard of health. Right
There's already
now,
a mold going on.
right,
Yeah.
because they already know how to do it. They don't know how to set it up in this area of their life. There's nothing wrong with that. But clearly
Mhm.
they're onto something. They have the mindset and the capacity to do it because they're
Interesting.
already doing it in other areas. If someone comes to me and does not have the foundation at all in any area of their life, they have additional work that they get to go do. And then they can come back. You know what I'm saying? Like,
No,
those are the
absolutely.
people that I can't carry over the finish line. Like, you have to have a foundation.
Yeah, because you would be doing too much work for them and they wouldn't
Correct.
appreciate everything because you've seen that from other
Yeah.
people. You've gone through that before, right?
Yep.
How do you relieve that with your clients, right? What would be your first step if I was your client coming in? I'm a female. I want to change. I don't know what to change. I need some direction. What would be some of the questions you would be asking me? Because if somebody's going to be listening on the podcast and I want to get into what Carrie's doing and what stage I'm in, you'd have to break it all down. What would be your first move?
I would want to know what their day looks like. Like, how do you wake up in the morning and like, what's the first thing that you do? Like, that tells me a lot about somebody because I used to be that person that would wake up and run. And then I would be chaotic like all day long because I'm now in a state of reactivity. I'm reacting to everything that's happening around me rather than waking up and going, okay, this is my time. The first hour of my day is my time. And you don't have to necessarily have like a morning routine, but I get to create some calmness, groundedness, and, create a space of neutrality before I go in and try to problem solve the rest of my day. Because problems are going to be thrown at me like all day long. And if I'm reacting to everything, then I'm not solving any problems. I'm probably creating more. And that's huge.
Yeah, you're probably creating more. Then
Yeah.
I'm stacking on top. You just have racks on racks on racks and stacks and stacks and stacks of problems and more pressure getting pushed down on you, like it's like there's no tomorrow. Now, last question: if you were sitting across from a woman right now who feels completely suffocated by the
Mm-hmm.
pressure to maintain perfection, what's the raw truth she needs to hear today? What would you tell her today?
If she was feeling suffocated by perfection,
Yes, because I know you're a
mm,
perfectionist.
yeah, I am a perfectionist. I used to believe that my perfectionism was caused by something outside of me. Like I just had to get it right. And I had to come to this, like, had to become to Jesus moment with myself of no one's expecting me
Ooh,
to get it right. Like I'm the
ooh,
one that's putting the pressure on myself. Like nobody expects me to be perfect. Like
no,
I had this idea that everybody was expecting me to like to perform this way and really what it was it was my inadequacies and there was so much underlying shame that I thought if I could just perform in a perfect way, you could never see the shit I was trying to hide below the surface. And then you
oh,
wouldn't judge me because I was judging me.
you was judging you, but you wouldn't want anybody else to know that you were judging me, and you wouldn't let it out, so they wouldn't judge you in the same.
Yeah, I didn't want you to see the
Yeah,
imperfection. I didn't want you to see
yeah,
the shame. And this goes back to like the abortion and testing positive for herpes. Like those are the
right.
things that I'm talking about. Like I swore that people could fucking see right through me and be able to know,
And
right?
nobody gives a
No,
crap.
nobody cares, right? Nobody cares
Nobody
about your
cares. Everybody has
past.
their own life.
Like
In
people
fact,
care about who you are
yeah,
today.
yeah, it's who you are at the time that you're in the compass of their circle for
Yep.
that phase. Because the past doesn't matter. Yeah, people judge the past and all that other crap, but at the same time, they're going through their own turmoils. Nobody cares. They're going through their own turmoils, their own experiences, their own pains, and everything else. And they don't want to let them know, so they're not going to do the same for you. See, it's the same like getting mad and angry and all that other good stuff, right?
I
No,
remember I had a mentor that used to tell me, she would be like, how arrogant of you that you actually think that people are fucking thinking about you because they're only thinking about themselves.
see that the cool part is that everybody thinks about themselves until they need something, or they want something, or they want to learn something, or they want to put themselves in a different status or money bracket, tax bracket, and everything else. Then they take some action. Other than that, everybody is going through the same shit in their head, regardless, right?
Yeah.
And now, especially when you're in a circle where it's like, okay, I got Miss Carrie as a friend, I got certain people as a friend. My circle stays small because that's the phase we're in that life, and we mesh, right? Now, for the other people that want to come in the circle, you can jump in any given time, but it's like knowing that we all have standards now at this stage, right?
Yes.
And we're going to be strict to that because if not, it's not worth the drama, right? It's not worth the
Yeah.
drama.
I love my drama-free life today.
The only reason why I asked, because with the health and fitness, when I was like, oh man, I mean, even though I was happy for you as fuck, right? Don't get me wrong, but it's like it's either the other person's gonna have to get on the bandwagon because I know how it is, because it's a lifestyle.
It-
Anyway, guys, before we wrap it up, let's bring this whole conversation back together. The goal isn't the finish line, right? That dropping
Right.
the weight is just a physical task. Keeping it off is a mental identity shift. You cannot maintain a new life, a new mentality if you're still thinking about with your old identity, right?
Mhm.
Don't let that panic get to you. And if you're carrying the weight, heavy pressure, and doing things on your own, reach out to Boundaries and Brotherhood. Reach out to Miss Carrie Polura on Facebook, Instagram. And if you're listening to this on a podcast, Spotify, all right, we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye. I hope you enjoyed me and Carrie on this show. Now, if you want more insights and stuff, since this was a clip, as you can tell, you can go to boundariesandbrotherhood.com or blog.boundariesandbrotherhood.com to get even more information. And you can always click the YouTube. Thanks for watching, and hope we can see you on the other side, because why we did this channel was so that you can be the best version of yourself. Just with a little encouragement, a little bit of help, and a little bit of guidance, we can get you there. Guys, see you next week. Bye.